Hi, it's David Krayden here. Thank you so much for subscribing and supporting the station. We could not move forward without you.
Mr. Prime Minister Theresa Wright. I'm a freelance reporter, but I'm here with the Canadian Press today. Last weekend, I was camping with my family, and
watch the smile, because this is the same reporter who asked Pierre Poilievre if he was courting the far right because he dares to criticize the World Economic Forum. So Trudeau knows all about that question, because those are the liberal talking points she was referring to, that the Conservative Party is somehow courting the far right, and the far right meaning anyone who objects to the World Economic Forum trying to dominate and take over our lives and take away our freedom. So look at Trudeau, the big shit-eating grin on him. Yeah, I rarely swear, but look at this. He's anticipating a softball question.
there was a vehicle that was a part of it was our neighbors basically, and it had a bumper sticker on it with your name and an expletive, which I had to explain to my children. Given that you're trying to do something that has rarely been achieved in Canada in history, a fourth mandate, have you considered the possibility that you have become a liability?
Ever since the pandemic, in particular, we've seen an increase in polarization and frustration and anxiety and mental health pressures on a whole lot of people right across the country. Nobody has been unaffected by that. And part of the challenge we have politically is that we are seeing deeper polarizations. But don't write off Canadians just because they choose to wave a nasty flag. Don't write off a neighbor who chooses to put a bumper sticker that unfortunately you then have to explain to your kids.
Okay, are we getting this? Are we getting this? Trudeau actually said there that if you're part of the opposition, if you're part of the resistance to his government, that you have mental health problems, because you obviously just can't see the sanity of this Trudeau government. So you must have something wrong up here. Now, if you think this man was arrogant, supercilious, and just completely out of touch with reality, listen to it again. But he has basically written off his critics as crazy people needing psychiatric help because they don't see what a great job he's doing. But amid all the anger, Trudeau says policy hiking gas prices is needed. And you know why he thinks it's needed? Because he thinks it's fighting climate change. So if you're paying $5 a liter for gas, that's fighting climate change. Even if you have to continue to drive your car, you'll just be paying more, or you're going to starve, or you'll lose your job, or you can't work at all. And this is the insanity of the Trudeau government. I mean, clearly, there's a very simple answer to the escalating price of gas, and that's as the Conservative Party of Canada and the People's Party of Canada advocate, get rid of the carbon tax. It's doing nothing. And even if you believe that we need to reduce greenhouse gases, Canada only produces 1.5% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So how is it going to make any difference, even if we go to net zero and live in caves and have no electricity, no air conditioning, and can't drive our cars? How is that going to affect global greenhouse gas emissions? Because we all live on the same planet. It's not like Canada lives in a vacuum. So if we go net zero, it's going to mean no increasing climate change above our country. We all live in the same earth. And China is the one producing 33% of the greenhouse gas emissions. And China has no intention of reducing those because they are going Mach 6 on their energy. And all they want to do is become the leading economic and military power in the world. And they don't care if they don't meet their greenhouse gas emission targets. If they don't hit net zero by 2035 or even 2050, they don't care. So what's happening in Trudeau because of this? I mean, there's probably something going on here, right? His popularity of both Trudeau and the party is plummeting, catering, just going to the bottom. It's going through the floor. Now, this is the highest the Conservatives have polled, my God, since Stephen Harper, probably. They're getting into majority territory with 41%. The Liberals are at 28%, are clearly losing their support. And there's still enough idiots who think the NDP are different than the Liberals, and they're not. They're just a different color. They're orange, not red. That's the only bloody difference here. And it's so you've got to know that Canadians are finally waking up and saying, this guy has got to go. This prime minister is sold out, has sold out to the environmental extremists. As far as I'm concerned, the Chinese interest. That's why he is not called for a public inquiry into Chinese election interference. He got away with it. He left the House recess in the third week of June. And I said at the time, you might recall me saying in here, he is going to go through the whole summer without calling a public inquiry. And sure enough, here we are in the dying days of August. September is on the horizon. We're nearing the end of summer, and he has gotten away with it.
Opposition parties in your government reached a terms of reference for the foreign interference inquiry in early July. Has none been announced because you can't find somebody to lead it?
No, we continue to work very closely with all opposition parties on making sure that the terms of reference, the person who will be leading it, and the work that is done is in the best interests of all Canadians, that they are able to do the work without the kind of partisan toxicity we saw during the fall. We know that a robust inquiry into foreign interference of all different types is really important for democracy, and that's why we're moving forward with that.
Foreign interference inquiry, he said that the opposition parties are still working together, that something's happening. What's the holdup on calling this inquiry in your mind? Because he says you haven't come to a consensus yet.
We gave him names, we gave him a mandate, and we've been waiting ever since. The holdup is Justin Trudeau. Only Justin Trudeau has the authority to call a public inquiry. As leader of the opposition, I have no authority under the Inquiries Act. I've made my suggestions and I'm now waiting for him. You almost wonder if Trudeau doesn't want the truth to come out about Beijing's interference in our democracy before the next election so that he can allow that interference to happen all over again. He benefited from it twice, and he knew it because we know that he had the briefings on it, and he did absolutely nothing. And now he's blocking inquiry. He didn't introduce a foreign influence registry to identify those paid agents who work for foreign dictators to manipulate our politics. It seems to me Trudeau is fine to allow the foreign influence to continue as long as it benefits him.
Precisely, Mr. Poilievre. And does Justin Trudeau really want the truth to come out about this? No. That's why he lied consistently about knowing anything about this. Claimed he was never briefed by CSIS. Claimed he knew nothing about Chinese election interference. And once the whole scandal erupted, he had the audacity, the gall, to suggest he was the one who was always concerned about Chinese election interference. It was always in the top of his mind. He was the one fighting for justice and truth. He is a consummate liar. There's no more you can say about that. He chronically lies about all of this stuff. He gets up in front of the media and he tells bald-faced lies about what he knew and when he knew it. And he's got the nerve to say, it's not my fault there's no public inquiry. I started this broadcast by saying that I had said in June that Trudeau would get through the summer without a public inquiry about Chinese election interference. And he's done that. And now he's blamed, as usual, he projects his own problems on other people. He's the one that's not doing anything about this, but he blames Poilievre and the opposition. They're the ones responsible for no public inquiry. And that's the way Justin Trudeau works. I don't know if he has a conscience or if he's consulted it in a while, but it certainly appears like he hasn't, because he just loves to suggest it's everybody else's fault, not mine. He has completely compromised this country. We are on a road to catastrophic economic disaster because of his environmental policies. We are the only country in the world now with a euthanasia program, and you don't even have to be sick to qualify. You can just be a little depressed. We have abortion on demand up to birth. We have increasing censorship, and there's more coming next month or the month after. That's going to make it almost impossible to say what you want on social media or the internet. It's called the Online Safety Bill. He's going to resurrect this in the fall, and it's going to make disinformation something that the government can remove, and the government won't even be defining what that is. It means whatever this Liberal government, this Trudeau government, says it is. So that is frightening. He has taken us down an authoritarian road, and he constantly demonizes, vilifies his opponents as racist and misogynist, exactly what he has been all his life. He is shameless. I'm sure you're sick of seeing his snide, sneering, arrogant, smiling face on the camera. We need to get rid of this man as prime minister as soon as possible. And we need to fight back, and we need to push back, and we need to say enough is enough of this guy. What we're trying to do every week here is bring you the news you might not see everywhere else. And we're coming against Justin Trudeau's internet censorship laws. Please subscribe, ring that bell if you haven't done so already. I know it's annoying to ask. Believe me, I'm not a salesman. I'm a writer. But I really implore you to do that because I need this station to keep going. We want to keep bringing you the news that you want to hear. And if you want a story covered, let me know, please. Because that's where I'm getting a lot of news information from your tips. So thank you for being there for me. And you can also support this station by going on my Substacks and subscribing for $8 a month. Yes, I know it's free, but I can also use your support. So please do that if you can. And I'll continue to be here every week, every day if must needs be, to tell you what's really happening in this world of ours. And I'm in nobody's pocket, but I am on your side.